October 23rd meeting of the Transportation Committee will now come to order. Madam Clerk, could you please call roll?
Mr. Ansello?
Here.
Mr. Barker?
Here.
Mr. Broth?
Here.
Chairman Colby?
Here.
Mr. Gamble?
Here.
Mr. Patterson is excused. Mrs. Valerio?
Is there anyone signed up for a public forum?
There is one public forum speaker, Mr. Tom Gregory.
Please come forward.
Well, I promise this legislative body I'm not going to do this very often when I speak to all the committees. That's a promise, too. I'm making a fool of myself up here, but the fact is I don't mind making a fool of myself when we talk about transportation, and we talk about fracking, and we talk about trucks, and we talk about what the county gets out of it. I'm sure that somewhere in this administration there's an idea already forming, an idea or two to make county revenues off an industry that might be a thriving industry in the future here in this county, especially if we go about the treatment of that waste and that there, which basically from what I've studied is really a little bit more than diluting the water. The heavy elements are taken out generally in a thing called pre-treatment, and the biggest problem is to turn what's brine water back into kind of diluted enough where it can be put back in the environment safely, which is happening all the time. When you think about it, fracking's been around since, well, actually 1800s, my data tells me, and became an actual process. A patent was written on it in 1947. So in other words, it's been used for a while. Question is, what does the county get out of it? Well, there's a lot of ways the county can raise revenues off a thriving industry in this state. And when we look at what those revenues do for our county, in my opinion anyhow, those revenues provide work for our employees, current, and also potential for greater employment by our county in the maintenance of our roads and our bridges and things like that. Now, I guess there's two ways of looking at a problem. One way you can say, well, we can't do it, we can't do it, we can't do it. And another way is say, we can do it, and we're going to find a way to make it mutually beneficial for ourselves as a county and for the industries that we need to have here to offset the costs of county government. That's about all I have to say. I am a can-doer, and I hope that most of you are. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else not signed up that would like to address this committee at this time? Seeing none, the next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. You have the August 21st minutes for the Transportation Committee before you. They stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. Next item is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral 12-295.
Moved by Mr. Sally, and second by Mary Valerio. Any questions, please? Legislator Broth.
Thank you. Through the chair to the administration, I have only one question, I promise. And that is, I note this is a phase 3, and I'm familiar with the phase 2 appropriation that occurred last year, at least I believe it was last year. My question is, are there anticipate any more phases, and if so, how many more phases?
Through the chair, depending on whether we may lose some earmarked dollars or not, but I think we're going to have money for an additional phase, whether we call it phase 4 or whether we just say it's, camera deployment. But whether it's next year or the following year, we'll be hopefully doing one more.
Then I'll break my promise. Sorry, then as a follow-up question through the chair, the fourth phase with camera deployment would be, in your anticipation, the final one, correct?
Through the chair, I never want to say final. We'll continue to put cameras up and find money to do it. It might not be called phases, but we'll continue to do that if it's the appropriate thing to help maintain and operate our traffic system.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions? Legislator Mary Valerio.
Have they already been put in place already? Are they being used? Like, by the airport, do I see them?
Through the chair, by the airport you don't see ones there for county. You could see the state ones. Oh, we all look at them together, but yeah. There's about 38 cameras out there now on primarily city, but some county roads. primarily in the city near the intersections. And the state and ourselves can see them, as well as the public can see them. They can go online and see them at any time. They can go to the website. This project will add another 21 cameras.
And thus far, can you give me an example of, have they, averted a major jam up, or, how do they use the information?
Through the chair, exactly what you just described. Previously, we would rely on detectors in the road, and it would give us information to see how long somebody might have been sitting at a signal and sitting in one spot, and we kind of maybe guess what was going on and adjust signal timing possibly by that. Now we actually have the eyes in the field without going out there, and we can change timings right from the office based on what we see. For instance, a couple weeks ago, right during rush hour, the tractor-trailer turned over on 490. And what that enabled us to do via cameras, as well as we could change timings. It was kind of a mess going out of downtown that day if anybody was downtown, but we could put more time on, longer periods of time on throughout the rush hour on intersections that might not have had that long for a certain direction to help get traffic out. The other thing they help us out for is during construction projects. If we have cameras, we can look to change timings based on things that are going on because of construction. East Henrietta and Westfall, for an example, Mount Hope, Elmwood, I know it's kind of a mess anyways, but we're able to manage the traffic a little bit better by seeing what's going on.
Thank you. It's interesting.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next item.
Referral 12-296.
Moved by Valerio, second by Barker. Does anybody have any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. There is no unfinished business become before this committee. So the October 23rd meeting of the Transportation Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting for the Transportation Committee is scheduled for November 27th. Thank you.